Hello and welcome to Spa-Francorchamps as we get ready for the 12th race of the EuroFormula Open season. This is the 6th of 8 stops around some of Europe's finest circuits, and the championship fight is really coming to the boil. As we have ended the summer break and are now on the run in to the end of the 2015 season. It's hello from myself, Ben Evans, to a very damp, drizzly and chilly day here in the Ardennes. There was a heavy shower this morning just in advance of qualifying for the EuroFormula Open. Since then it was dry until about midday, but then the rain arrived once more. But that hasn't deterred yesterday's race winner, Vitor Baptista. He qualified on pole position and is closing up all the while his principal championship rival Konstantin Tereshchenko to make the title fight as close as possible. The next 13 laps or 35 minutes or so going to be one of the decisive points of the season. So there you see Baptista. He has won the last 2 races, and yesterday, if you didn't join us, it was a brilliant scrap between Baptista and Tereshchenko. Lining up second on the grid was yesterday's 5th place finisher Tanart Sathienthirakul, the driver from Thailand, now climbing up to 4th in the championship standings. And Tanart has had a very strong single lap pace all year long. Here is the championship leader, Konstantin Tereshchenko, just 3 points clear of Vitor Baptista in his Campos racing car. Tereshchenko was on pole yesterday, hugely frustrated not to come through and claim the win. 4th on grid for Igor Wililko, the rookie driver with the RP Motorsport team. Wililko was unfortunate to be caught up in other people's dramas yesterday and didn't make it through to the checker flag. He is looking to improve on his best result of the year to date of 6th. Leonardo Pulcini had an interrupted qualifying session earlier on, and there is still work ongoing on his car as the grid begins to clear. 6th for Yarin Stern, who put together another pugnacious drive yesterday en route to 8th place. The Israeli sheltering from the drizzle as the rain has just increased a little bit since the cars came to the grid. 7th for Anthony Patak, who had a career best 7th place finish in race 1, relishing Spa this weekend and relishing the tricky conditions. Lining up in 8th is Alessio Rivera, victorious in the opening race of the year in Jerez, which was held in not dissimilar weather with the rain on a chilly day. He has returned to the GAV team for this weekend, and that is the squad that took him to that win. Lining up in 9th place, Diego Menchaca for Campos Racing. Diego sustained damage to his front nose cone yesterday, which was unfortunate because until that point he was scrapping with the leading group. Very warm welcome to Kantati Kusiri for this weekend, the driver from Thailand who has joined the RP Motorsport team. Kusiri was shown brightly until he had a quick spin at the source midway through yesterday's race. Here's the grid in full then. Vitor Baptista and Tanart Sathienthirakul sharing the front row. Then it's Konstantin Tereshchenko and Igor Wililko on row 2. Leonardo Pulcini is there in 5th, just alongside Yarin Stern, and then it's Anthony Patak and Alessio Rivera on row 4. The 5th row, Diego Menchaca and Kantati Kusiri, and then Parth Gopal, an excellent 11th. William Barbosa always races better than he qualifies and should figure in the points from 12th. Jose Manuel Villalta will be delighted with 13th, just ahead of Andres Saravia. It's Enrique Baptista and Ahmed Alganem making it all Campos. 8th row, both Yu Kanemaru and Damiano Fioravanti having problems in qualifying. And for Kanemaru, that is wretched luck for the driver 3rd in the standings, but dropping ever further away from the title fight. Cars heading off on the green flag formation lap, their last opportunity to get a sense of the track conditions. Everybody running on the wet control compound Michelin tyre. As ever in the EuroFormula Open, they are all in the Lara F312 chassis, powered by the Control Turbo engine, supplied by the GT Sport organisation, and that keeps the costs at an affordable level, makes some very close and competitive racing. The race duration today is 13 laps, but we do have a 35-minute time limit if we have the interruption of the safety car, or indeed if the conditions steadily worsen. This is as difficult as it has been throughout the day, and already a fine mist of spray forming up along the Kemmel Straight. So the drivers just weaving around, seeing where the grip is and beginning to warm their Michelin tyres. Well, the championship battle could not be any closer, really, between Konstantin Tereshchenko and Vitor Baptista, with just 5 races remaining. Vitor Baptista has got the momentum with him. He was winner in race 2 at the Red Bull Ring, winner yesterday. He has now had 4 victories this season. That is the same as Konstantin Tereshchenko. For Tereshchenko, it's now 3 races where he has not been on the top step of the podium, but he has finished runner-up twice on his last 3 outings. Would have certainly have hoped to have figured to have won yesterday's race, particularly as he jumped into an early advantage, which was then reeled in by Vitor Baptista. Of course, the other dynamic to all of this is that it's the drivers' 14 best results from the season that count over the 16-race schedule. Now, on dropped points, in fact, Vitor Baptista has edged ahead of Konstantin Tereshchenko in the championship battle, and therefore Tereshchenko can't really afford to be conceding any positions from here on in to the young Brazilian. There through the murk is the bright red DAV car of Alessio Rivera. Rivera, the former Italian Formula Bath champion, winner in race 1 of the year in Jerez, has been on the podium on 3 other occasions, was a disappointed 6th place yesterday, but he has absolutely phenomenal car control, and this is the sort of weather that he relishes. Yarin Stern is another driver who we have seen put together some absolutely startling performances in wet, dry races. Baptista slowing the field down as he turns through the bus stop chicane, heading to the grid. The field about to form up. The 12th race of the EuroFormula Open season will be underway any moment now. It's the black, orange and silver RP Motorsport car of Vitor Baptista, who rolls towards his pole position. Alongside him will be the blue Motul Team WEST-TEC car of Tanat Sathianthirikal, then the white and red Campos car of Konstantin Tereshchenko. Watch for the red DAV cars of Pulcini and Rivera. There is Damiano Fioravanti, who will take his place at the rear of the field. The last couple of cars about to roll into place. The racing will be underway once more any moment now in the EuroFormula Open as the green flag is waved from the marshal at the rear of the field. The eyes turn towards the gantry as the red lights come on, the revs rise, and away we go. Who's got the jump from the line? It's a very smooth getaway from Vitor Baptista. It's a brilliant start as well from Igor Wililko, and it's Konstantin Tereshchenko who is going to be boxed in here as they turn through La Source for the first time, as both the DAV front runners have appeared to jump in, but Rivera spins out. He got squeezed onto the sausage curb, and around he goes. He'll rejoin at the rear of the field. Down to Eau Rouge for the first time, and it's Baptista from Wililko, Sathianthirikal, Tereshchenko, Pulcini and Stern as they're cleanly through. That's Anthony Patak running wide at the top of Radion. So they embark on the Kemmel Straight for the first time, and Baptista has already got a handy advantage. Sathianthirikal and Tereshchenko go side by side for third. It resolves in favour of Tereshchenko, who slots in behind Wililko. And it's Pulcini just clear of Yarin Stern. Also, having made a good start, is William Barbosa. He is up into 9th as they come out of Les Combes, just clear of Diego Menchaca. Already down towards the Bruxelles hairpin, and Pulcini about to lose out to Yarin Stern. Stern in the sky blue car looks the inside of Pulcini, who runs wide, as does Sathianthirikal. Pulcini rejoins just in the path of Anthony Patak. Fortunately, the RP Motorsport driver able to take evasive action in the nick of time. Front of the field, heading into Puan already. This is looking like a good advantage for Vitor Baptista. Pulcini and Patak battle, then it's a slight gap back to William Barbosa. He's got Diego Menchaca, Kantati Kasiri just in behind him. So already Tereshchenko looks to line up the move and Igor Wililko. But for the RP Motorsport team, this is absolutely ideal because Wililko can ride shotgun for Vitor Baptista and allow the Brazilian driver to break away. We're yet to see anybody perform a clean sweep in a race weekend in the EuroFormula Open this year. Will Baptista be the first to do so? Cars come out of Stavelot, begin the long run towards Blanchimont at the end of this, the first of 13 laps. So much spray being kicked up, visibility in the midfield absolutely non-existent. Not a problem at all for Vitor Baptista. He gets on the brakes, moves down through the gears, and he has got the huge advantage of a clear view. Running wide there is Sathian Thirikul. Yaron Stern not quite close enough to be able to take advantage, as at least the first 10 or so cars safely through the bus stop chicane. Baptista's advantage 1 3/4 seconds over Tereshenko, who bobs and weaves behind Wililko. Tereshenko knows his best chance will come down the Kemmel straight. Pulcini looked to the inside of Patak very briefly. Anthony Patak immediately able to reclaim the place as they run downhill towards Eau Rouge. Now is Tereshenko going to be close enough to challenge Wililko? It's touch and go. They're not running in particularly close company, unlike Pulcini and Patak. They are nose to tail. Kersey, Kassiri and Menchaka, much the same thing. So the race leader Vitor Baptista kicks up the spray towards Igor Wililko. There is Wililko in second, and no, Tereshenko not able to close upon the slipstream. In fact, Tereshenko running a little bit wide into Les Combes and has had to back right out of the throttle, and then applies the right foot as he was still on the curve. The car snapping sideways, and he suddenly loses a good degree of ground. He's being helped, though, by the fact that Sathian Thirikul has also had 1 or 2 sideways moments and is slightly adrift. Into the pit lane for the car of Alessio Rivera. Clearly picks up a little bit more damage than perhaps appeared to be the case. He had that spin coming out of La Source on the first lap. His teammate Pulcini, meanwhile, in pursuit of Anthony Patak as they pick their way through the teeming rain into Pouhon. Although the spray is voluminous on the far side of the circuit, our commentary position, which overlooks the pit lane, is now bathed in sunshine, and the rapidity with which these cars will clear the water, managing those wet tyres through the race, could start to become a factor. So Vitor Baptista leads, second place Wililko, third Tereshenko, fourth Sathian Thirikul, fifth Stern, sixth Anthony Patak, seventh Leonardo Pulcini, eighth William Barbosa, going fantastically well, ninth Diego Menchaka, and then it's Cantati Kassiri who completes the top 10. Ready on towards Blanchimont for the front runners. Sathian Thirikul, you can just see, trying to move to the edge of that bank of spray just to pick out some reference points, identify where he needs to turn in. This has all the appearances of being another very good lap for Vitor Baptista, as Anthony Patak looks to the inside of Yaron Stern and tries to sneak through. Stern taking evasive action, reclaims the place. That may require a little bit of investigation. So I think he would argue that he had no option but to turn off to avoid an incident. Patak would argue that he was through and Stern should have maybe braked a little bit more. As it is, Anthony Patak comes under pressure from Leonardo Pulcini as the car's bathed in sunshine on the pit complex side of the circuit, but then as they climb out of Eau Rouge and through Radion onto the Kemmel Straight, that's where it is appreciably darker and damper. Pulcini looks to get into the slipstream behind Anthony Patak. It's through the murk. Vitor Baptista, you can't even see Wililko and Tereshenko until they burst out of the bubble. The same now for Sathian Thirikul, who has got teammate Stern just in behind him. Patak forced into defensive mode, busy defending from Leonardo Pulcini. They have got William Barbosa closing up onto their tail as well as they run downhill. Pulcini looks to the inside of Patak, who finds the traction to the outside at the Bruxelles hairpin, and it's down out of Bruxelles into the bottom of the valley and Pouhon, which is really where the track conditions are at their most treacherous. Fight for second and third, still no change, but Barbosa have got a good run on Pulcini as they came out of the first left-hander. He's not been able to quite parlay that into an opportunity to challenge Pouhon, so they remain as they were. What about out of Pouon, and where is Barbosa relative to Pulcini? The answer is that he's been able to get through. Great stuff from William Barbosa in the BVM car. And he moves up into an excellent 7th place. He went very, very well in the wet weather in Jerez at the start of the year, William Barbosa. And Pulcini may have just possibly gone the wrong direction with setup, because he's now slipping into the clutches of Diego Menchaca and Candidati Kassiri. It's the white car of Menchaca who challenges Pulcini as they come out of Stavolo, and Pulcini may have a more significant problem than just a tricky handling car. Meanwhile, Tereshchenko thinking about lining up the move on Igor Wililko. The car's re-emerging into the sunshine at the bus stop chicane, blasting through to complete the 3rd lap of the race. The advantage for Baptista now 3.4 seconds over Igor Wililko, who in turn has half a second on Tereshchenko, and now Tereshchenko is getting into the territory where he might just be able to take advantage of the slipstream along the Kemmel Straight. The car's running downhill out of La Source towards Eau Rouge. Wililko, however, is getting fantastic exit speed through some of the slower corners. He carries maximum commitment through Eau Rouge and out of Radion. It means that Tereshchenko is probably going to be able to close up under the slipstream, but not much more than that. I'd be surprised if he draws alongside and gets past. Vitor Baptista, interestingly, beginning to set about cooling his tyres. Wililko covers the inside of the road. No way to the inside, or indeed outside of Tereshchenko. Wililko just has a little bit of a hesitation exiting Les Combes. It forces Tereshchenko to back up, and that is so sad to see for Leonardo Pulcini. Great shame. The Italian driver was going so well in qualifying. Now I hope he finds somewhere suitable to pull off. Meanwhile, Tereshchenko and Wililko now as one in the fight for 2nd place. And Konstantin Tereshchenko, having played himself in, found out where the grip was, now really coming to put the pressure onto Wililko. The pace that the pair of them are running at is a fair bit quicker than Tanat Sathi and Thirikul, so they don't need to worry about the car in 4th place closing onto their tail just yet. Tereshchenko thinks about having a little bit of a look on the way into Fagnes. No room there. And then slides sideways. Oh, and Tereshchenko living dangerously. Very, very fortunate to get away with that. The car flying completely sideways across the AstroTurf on the exit of Fagnes. Now that, in turn, means that he's not quite as close coming through Stavolo. Here we see it again. The car sideways. Lightning reflexes from the Russian, which he needed. So it's still Vitor Baptista out front. We are watching the battle for 2nd position, and quite the fight it is between Baptista's RP Motorsport teammate Igor Wililko in his debut season in the EuroFormula Open, former ADAC Formel Master driver, and Konstantin Tereshchenko, the championship leader for Campos Racing. Although if positions were to remain as they are, then Vitor Baptista would take over the lead of the championship with just 4 races to run. In 4th place it is Tanat Sathi and Thirikul. 5th is Team WEST-TEC teammate Yarin Stern. And in 6th, Anthony Patak. 7th is William Barbosa, and 8th, Diego Menchaca. Down to the bottom of Eau Rouge and climbing uphill for Vitor Baptista. 4.6 seconds his advantage over Igor Wililko. And again, Wililko has just maximum commitment through Eau Rouge. It's great to watch. And it means that he is carrying that pace out of Radion and down the Kemmel Straight. Now that's fascinating. Vitor Baptista immediately into tyre cooling mode. We're only on lap 5 of 13. If a dry line does appear, then this could start to get very precarious with tyre management as the race unfolds. Because it's a 7-kilometre lap here at Spa. And these EuroFormula Open cars, with their big front and rear spoilers, plus the heavily cut wet tyres, will clear the water very rapidly. But part of the problem is because of the length of the circuit, this section of track through Bruxelles and Pouon is unlikely to particularly dry out anytime soon, whereas the run from the bus stop chicane all the way up to Les Combes could see a dry line emerging fairly quickly. So Konstantin Tereshchenko building up for another challenge on Igor Wililko. The pair of them exit P1 now, and they are being caught by Tanart Sathienthirakul. Sathienthirakul, there he is in fourth, was 8/10 quicker than the two cars in front of him last time around. And this could be a great opportunity for Tanart to score his fourth podium finish of the season. Tanart, who lost out a little bit in some of the dicing yesterday, but generally, if he's able to get on to terms with others, could be a tenacious racer. There is Damiano Fioravanti over at Bruxelles. Didn't see the start of it, but he's only now venturing back onto the track and bringing himself up to speed. Out of Blanchimont on towards the bus stop chicane, fight for second place, and Wililko can sense Tereshchenko coming. Good defensive driving here from Igor Wililko. He is looking to frustrate Konstantin Tereshchenko at every turn, and as he does that, it's giving Tanart Sathienthirakul the chance to close in. They shoot across the line, and Sathienthirakul again 8/10 of a second quicker. He's now just 1.2 seconds back from Konstantin Tereshchenko. The Russian driver heads down in third place out of La Source. There is the blue car of Sathienthirakul in fourth place. Through Eau Rouge, and this time around Tereshchenko appreciably closer to Igor Wililko, and now Tereshchenko's got the run in the Campos racing car, and you would suspect that Tereshchenko might be able to find a way past Wililko, who has frustrated him for the past 5 laps on this occasion. Somewhere through the spray, there they are, they're side by side. Wililko can't do anything to keep Tereshchenko behind him. Konstantin then manages to get the car stopped and through Les Corps absolutely perfectly. Now the Campos team will be hoping that Tereshchenko can put together an absolutely phenomenal middle sector here and break away from Igor Wililko. But Wililko has done exactly what he needed to do in terms of the championship narrative, which is frustrate Tereshchenko, keep him behind him until Vitor Baptista had run off into the distance some 6 seconds up the road. Here is super slow motion of our race leader, Vitor Baptista, at work. Absolutely perfect technique. The head looking well ahead of where the car actually is, pointing to the right part of the road. It's now Tereshchenko has broken away from Wililko. Igor Wililko's tenure on the overall race rostrum is looking increasingly precarious. Sathienthirakul has caught onto his tail. Wililko currently leading the rookie race from Anthony Patak and Diego Menchaca, with the two very preeminent DAV rookies, Leonardo Pulcini and Alessio Rivera, both forced into retirement early on. Sathienthirakul knows if he can stay in the slipstream behind Igor Wililko as they come out of Radion, that's going to give him the best opportunity along the Kemmel Straight. Swooping through Blanchimont, coming to the end of the 6th lap of the race. The good news is that the weather conditions are as bright as they have been all day. Sunshine bursting through, certainly over the pit and paddock area. Just wonder how quickly the beginnings of a dry line are going to start to emerge. I think we're a way off from it just yet. At the same time, everybody taking the opportunity to keep the Michelin tires as cool as possible. Now is Sathienthirakul close enough to Wililko to really challenge on the run out of Eau Rouge? I'm not sure that he is. It depends just how much pace the Polish driver carries through Eau Rouge. The answer is an awful lot of it. Sathienthirakul has a minute correction mid-turn. Now he should benefit a little bit from the slipstream here, Sathienthirakul, but it's not going to be enough to get the jump on Wililko. Even the spray a little bit less than it was a couple of laps ago. And there is the approximation of a dry line just on that turn in to Les Corps. Now where is Igor Wililko? There is Sathienthirakul, and Igor Wililko has gone missing somewhere. Right, here is replay of Diego Menchaca, almost getting a little bit of assistance from Cantadine Kassiri. So here's Vitor Baptista, Second place is Konstantin Tereshchenko. I think Wililko made a mistake on the way into Les Combes. We will see in just a moment's time. That's Wililko towards the end of the last lap, with Sathian Thirikul breathing down his neck. In fact, there is Wililko, so he is where he should be, in third place. He's got still Sathian Thirikul looming on his tail. Tereshchenko in second has eased clear in second, but he's now 6.2 seconds adrift of the race leader Vitor Baptista. So the leading quartet relatively stable at this stage of the race. Sathian Thirikul's golden opportunity maybe to pressurise Wililko seems to have just gone away momentarily. In fifth place we've got Yaron Stern, sixth is Anthony Patak, seventh William Barbosa, eighth is Diego Menchaca, ninth Kandati Kasiri, and in 10th Parth Gorpard. Vitor Baptista jinks through, concludes the 7th lap of the race. We're just over half race distance. Baptista sets the fast lap of the race as well at 2 minutes 33.8. Is Diego Menchaca taking a trip across the escape route as Gorpard and Kasiri wheel to wheel. And the pace of the race is steadily increasing. The track would appear to be getting a little bit quicker lap on lap. It's 2 minutes 33.8 for Vitor Baptista, 2 minutes 34.8 for Tereshchenko. She actually gave away a little bit of ground to Wililko and Sathian Thirikul. Tereshchenko's advantage over Wililko just over a second. Vitor Baptista has got the meat of the Kemmel Straight between himself and his principal championship rival, Tereshchenko. With the slipstream, Wililko closing back up towards Tereshchenko. The real challenge, of course, for the drivers in these conditions is just that consistency. Each and every corner is an adventure, and each turn is going to be a little bit different with a drying track in terms of the grip available than it was on the previous occasion. And this is where the drivers really start to learn about what the car is doing, what the levels of mechanical grip are, what the levels of aerodynamic grip are as well. Just how much they can ask their machinery, because typically in dry weather the Formula 3 cars at the EuroFormula Open have got a little bit more grip than power, relatively speaking. Therefore the drivers can really lean on the aerodynamics. When it's wet and greasy, it levels out just a little bit. The drivers have to be a bit more educated with the right foot. They have to be very, very balanced in managing the grip. Tereshchenko winds through Fania, all the while conceding ground to the race leader Vitor Baptista, but at the same time not being particularly pressurised by Igor Wililko. This is a good scrap. This is for 8th place. Diego Menchaca, the white car, just ahead of the black and silver machine of Kandati Kasiri. Kasiri very rapidly mastering these difficult conditions as he chases Menchaca into Stavelot. The long run towards Blanchimont next along. They have just lost touch within 7th place. William Barbosa also trying to pull clear of Parth Gorpard in 10th. Menchaca just having to defend a little bit from Kasiri through the first section of Blanchimont. Out to the second, and the Campos Racing driver, the Mexican Menchaca, has got his nose just in front. Isn't going to be pressurised on the brakes into the bus stop chicane. A pair of them wind through. That time around, the race leaders all just a little bit slower than they were on the previous occasion. Menchaca has the luxury of being able to take the main racing line through Lassour's hairpin. It's Vitor Baptista continuing to cool his tyres off along the Kemmel Straight, but the plumes of spray a lot smaller than they were a few moments ago. Wililko now really getting back onto terms with Tereshchenko through the slipstream. The key is going to be whether or not Wililko can be close enough coming out of Radion to pressurise the Russian as they run along the Kemmel Straight. A pair of them run downhill in towards the Bruxelles hairpin. road falling away very, very steeply. Meanwhile, here is Jose Manuel Villalta. He is busy battling with Andres Saravia, and they had Yu Kanemaru as part of that group as well. Kanemaru, don't forget, who started at the very tail of the field and has actually not been able to progress up through the pack, possibly as quickly as he would have hoped. Currently only in 12th place by my reckoning. Indeed, his next target is Villalta. Kanemaru up into 12th. He's dispatched Saravia, but in terms of the championship, this is really quite wretched news for Kanemaru. He won't be mathematically eliminated from the championship fight at the checker flag today, but it makes his task an awful lot more difficult, particularly as this would essentially be his second dropped score, and so he can't afford any more missteps between now and the end of the season. About to come to the end of the 9th lap of the race. Vitor Baptista continues to lead in the 12th race of the season in the EuroFormula Open here at Spa. In second place, it's Konstantin Terashenko. Third, Igor Walilko, having his drive of the year so far. And in fourth place, Tanart Sathienthirakul. Walilko also leading the rookie race for Anthony Patak to the 10th lap. Although the track is drying, it's not drying quickly enough, I think, to cause any particular concern about undue tyre wear, and Terashenko once more has been able to put together a very good final couple of sectors on the lap to have enough of a buffer over Igor Walilko that Walilko's not going to be close enough to offer any challenge in the slipstream along the Kemmel Straight, and likewise, nor really is Tanart Sathienthirakul in fourth going to be able to pressurise Walilko. Motorsport looking as if they are poised to make it 3 victories in a row, and for the first time this year we'll have a double winner taking a clean sweep of a race weekend. Second place, Terashenko, now for the first time in a couple of laps with a little bit of daylight between himself and Igor Walilko. Walilko has got Sathienthirakul looming large in his tail, but Tanart not quite poised to challenge. Next obstacle is Pouant. Meanwhile, Kasiri and Menchaka continue their tussle. The white car of Menchaka maintains the 8th place, but Kandati Kasiri is all over his tail, possibly wanting to challenge to the inside, the left-hander, then the outside. Flick downhill now towards Pouant. This is an opportunity for Kasiri if he's feeling very brave. Menchaka moves the inside line. Kasiri thinks about jinking to the outside. He can't quite draw alongside Diego Menchaka as they turn into the first phase, the left-hander, then the second, and Kasiri right in the turbulent air behind Menchaka, but it's not slowing him down as they run towards Fania. Again, Menchaka covers the inside line, forcing Kasiri to do it the hard way. Kasiri looks to the outside, then just has to slot in behind Menchaka, plot his next move. All the while, as they pick up their pace, William Barbosa is only a couple of seconds up the road, if not a little bit less than that. Kandati Kasiri clearly keen to improve on 9th place, and if Kasiri can make this move stick, then that would give him a rookie podium on his maiden weekend in the EuroFormula Open. Menchaka doing everything right at the moment, only defending where he has to, and always defending in such a way that it doesn't make it easy for Kasiri. Throughout the course of this event, we have seen very close racing in the EuroFormula Open, but also very clean racing as well. Hopefully that will continue through the final 3 laps of the weekend. Across the line comes the fight for 8th place. Kandati Kasiri, if he can get a good exit from La Source, is going to be well poised to challenge Diego Menchaka along the Kemmel Straight and take full advantage of the slipstream effect. That's what he's going to be looking to do, surely, as they run out of the hairpin downhill towards Eau Rouge. In fact, Kasiri may try something a little bit sooner. He looks to the inside of Menchaka on the way towards Eau Rouge. Menchaka and Kasiri then both file in line astern. They climb out of Radion, but Kasiri is certainly close enough to Diego Menchaka to take advantage of the slipstream. Menchaka immediately moves across the inside of the road, partly to cool his tyres, partly to make sure there's no inside track for Kasiri, who jinks out of the bubble quite late on to the outside, but he couldn't draw alongside Diego Menchaca. So he's going to have to try a different approach. Attempts to force the Mexican slightly offline the exit of Les Combes. That offers no benefit. Instead, it's downhill towards the Bruxelles hairpin. Menchaca to the inside, Kasiri to the outside and finds some traction. Diego Menchaca running out a little bit wide. Candidate Kasiri still remains alongside Menchaca, who squeezes Kasiri out towards the AstroTurf. Kasiri is always slightly vulnerable to a move like that. The RP Motorsport team smiling because they think they found a good one in terms of Kasiri's aspirations in the EuroFormula Open. Great scrapping between the pair of them over 8th and 9th position. Vitor Baptista still leads dominantly so from Terashenko and Wililko, who has got Sathian Thirikul still up onto his tail. So here is our race leader, Vitor Baptista, about to start the penultimate lap of the race. This has been one of the most dominant performances of the season in the EuroFormula Open. This is the fight for third position. Wililko has still got Sathian Thirikul looming on his tail. Terashenko is there in second and has just been able to build enough of a buffer over Wililko, I think, not to be particularly concerned as they all flash through. Now, Sathian Thirikul going to be poised to be close enough to Wililko to challenge along the Kemmel Straight on either this, the penultimate, or indeed the final lap of the race. That is a good navigation of La Source from Tanat Sathian Thirikul, and he's already closing on Wililko as the pair of them run downhill through the dry line towards Eau Rouge. But Wililko has been so impressive through this formidable sequence in the race that Sathian Thirikul is not quite close enough. He'll hope that the slipstream effect tows him along towards the tail of Igor Wililko, but Wililko can sense that Sathian Thirikul isn't quite close enough to challenge, but Kasiri has found a way past Diego Menchaca. So Candidate Kasiri elevated into 8th place, but for how long? Because as they climb out of Radion, it's now Menchaca who can take advantage of the slipstream effect behind Candidate Kasiri. Kasiri doesn't even move across to cover the inside line. Menchaca gets himself back ahead, but then runs wide over the AstroTurf. Menchaca needs to be careful as he rejoins. He slews sideways, and Kasiri could sense that was going to come, and so bade his time, and now powers past, secures the move, and claims 8th position. And based on what we've seen over the past couple of laps, I suspect that Candidate Kasiri is now going to be able to ease away from Menchaca. Here's another look at it. Menchaca just sideways across the AstroTurf, and that kicked the car's traction a little bit out of line as he reclaimed the asphalt. Campos team will have potentially 2 second places from this weekend and a pole position for Konstantin Terashenko, but it's not been enough for the Russian driver to continue in the lead of the championship, because Vitor Baptista has one of those weekends that just really begins to swing the title momentum in his direction. Baptista leaving bus stop chicane now. The fight for second place about to arrive. Terashenko has been caught a little bit over the course of the past lap by Wililko. They are into the final lap of the race now, so just 7 kilometres of action remaining. Konstantin Terashenko exactly 1 second clear of Igor Wililko. It's not comfortable by any stretch of the imagination, but it is enough for Terashenko, I think, to be relatively unconcerned about the progress of Wililko along the Kemmel Straight, which is one of the key overtaking opportunities through Eau Rouge, and then climbing out of Radion. No, Wililko certainly isn't close enough to Terashenko, but also Wililko has got enough of an advantage over Sathian Thirikul not to worry about his 3rd place. Vitor Baptista, he was class champion of South American, Formula 3 championship last year. He had 13 wins along the way. came across to race in Europe this year, learning the circuits as he goes, but this has been arguably his finest race of the season. He hasn't put a wheel wrong. He made an absolutely immaculate start to the race, and thereafter has just continued to build his lead. He's now over 10 seconds clear of Tereshchenko in second place, and that is very, very dominant by the standards of the class of 2015 in the EuroFormula Open. Baptista negotiates Fagna for the final time. Car just running out a little bit wide towards the periphery of the road. Meanwhile, here is the progress of Yu Kanemaru trying to go around the outside of the path Gorpard, which he's managed to do with success. And provided that that holds, then Kanemaru is going to sneak at least a point from this race. Meanwhile, just a couple of turns remain for Vitor Baptista. Beautiful performance this from Baptista, and it's one that will give him the first double victory of the season. It's a win that will also give him the lead of the championship with just 4 races remaining. Baptista turns through the bus stop chicane, accelerates out of the final turn. The checker flag is ready and waiting, and Vitor Baptista does the double in the EuroFormula Open at Spa-Francorchamps. Both races in very tricky conditions. The RP Motorsport team celebrate as Konstantin Tereshchenko accelerates across the line for second place. Igor Walilko an excellent third, and that gives him the rookie win. Tanart Sathianthirikul in fourth. Fifth will go to our second rookie, Anthony Patak, with Yarin Stern in sixth. And then an excellent seventh place for William Barbosa, with Kandati Kasiri completing the rookie podium in eighth, just clear of Diego Menchaca. And then it is Parth Gorpard in 10th, Yu Kanemaru out of the points in 11th. So this happened at the final turn. Sathianthirikul was up behind Walilko. He went for the move. Fortunately, there was no contact. Maybe just a little bit of tyre rubbing. It didn't change the order of things. More celebration from Vitor Baptista. 5 victories now in 2015. Double win for the Brazilian. Konstantin Tereshchenko, it's a weekend of almost. He was on pole position for yesterday's race. He led for much of yesterday's race. But in the end, he has been beaten into second place on a couple of occasions. But he is still very much there in the championship fight. And Igor Walilko in third. Super performance from Walilko, comfortably the best that we have seen him go in the EuroFormula Open in what will be his last race weekend for his 18th birthday, which is next weekend. So congratulations in advance to Walilko. A look then at the final results. Vitor Baptista wins it from Konstantin Tereshchenko and Igor Walilko. Tanart Sathianthirikul in fourth from Anthony Patak, Yarin Stern, William Barbosa. Kandati Kasiri, 8th place and setting the fastest lap of the race on the last lap of the race, clear of Diego Menchaca and Parth Gorpard. Great drive from Gorpard to complete the top 10. Yu Kanemaru be very, very frustrated to have done no better than 11th. Jose Manuel Villalta in 12th, just clear of Andres Saravia and Ahmed Al-Ghanem. So here we have it in the championship then. Vitor Baptista 4 points up on Tereshchenko. So we will very shortly be hearing from our race winner, Vitor Baptista.
Vitor Baptista, the master of Spa, 2 pole positions, 2 wins. Today looked a little bit easier, but the conditions were not so easy.
Yeah, for sure. It was a little bit easier. Also in the beginning, I could do a really good start like yesterday. And I had one of my teammates on second place, so he could hold a little bit all the other cars. And I opened a gap on the first 3 laps. It turned my life a lot easier on the rest of the race.
And now, if the numbers are right, you should be in the lead of the championship.
I think so. I hope. But I'm sure that I'm the leader. And we have to keep working a lot because the championship is really hard. We still have 4 races. And Monza is the race that is a track that I don't know. Barcelona I know, but Monza will be, I think, more difficult than here.
For the time being, enjoying the victory. Parabéns, podium.
Let's have a look back on Vitor Baptista's second triumph of this Spa meeting. It was an absolutely perfect conversion of pole position as Tereshchenko got a little bit bogged down as they went towards La Source for the first time. They were almost all cleanly through La Source with the exception of Alessio Rivera, who spun out into eventual retirement. In the early stages, Leonardo Pulcini was in spectacular form, but he sadly faded also into retirement as the race unfolded. Well, a heavy shower just before the start made conditions extremely challenging as Baptista broke clear out front. Wililko did a good job of spoiling Tereshchenko's recovery eventually. Tereshchenko moved past Wililko just before half race distance. The battle of the race was arguably the one between Diego Menchaca and Candidati Kassiri, the pair of them going to wheel, lap upon lap. Eventually it was decided in favour of Kassiri. Path Goppard was also involved in that battle. This was one of Kassiri's brave attempts to overhaul Menchaca. It didn't quite come off. He's run out of road on the exit of the Bruxelles hairpin. Eventually, though, Kassiri forced Menchaca into a mistake at Les Combes. The Mexican driver running across the AstroTurf, losing traction, losing momentum, and allowing Kassiri through. But it was all about Kassiri's RP Motorsport teammate, Vitor Baptista, a lights to flag victory to do the double in Spa and move to the top of the championship. Konstantin Tereshchenko came through in second, and Wililko managed to hold on to third place despite that last lap lunge from Tanar Sathienthirakul. Wililko also victorious in the rookie race from Patak and Kassiri. So on to the rostrum. First of all, in third place, Igor Wililko. Second for Konstantin Tereshchenko. And a double Spa winner in the EuroFormula Open, Vitor Baptista. The winning team, RP Motorsport. Great day for RP Motorsport, as they also completely locked out the rookie podium.
Parla pure Igor, non senti.
The Brazilian national anthem in honour of Vitor Baptista as we move on to the presentation of the trophies, and an excellent debut podium in the EuroFormula Open for Igor Wililko. Runner-up once more, Konstantin Tereshchenko. Frustrating weekend, but I think when he reflects on it, 2 second places have kept him in the title hunt, and there is still a lot of racing between now and the end of the season. As we leave Spa, it's Vitor Baptista and RP Motorsport who will be doing the celebrating. Time for the photos on the top step of the podium. And then time to get on with the serious business of spraying the champagne So there are 2 events remaining, as we've been saying, and the next of those is the 3rd and 4th of October in Monza, and then it's on to the Circuit Catalunya on the 31st of October, 1st of November for the title decider. Well, this is going to be a moment of significant pride for the RP Motorsport team, because they have today, for the first time this year, locked out the rookie podium candidate Kasiri. Super and pugilistic drive en route to 3rd after that great battle with Diego Menchaca and Parth Gorpard. 2nd place for Anthony Patak. He has had a superb weekend. And 5th place today over